Okay, we are live and I'm on camera, and let me tell the Discord crew the same. Okay, they know I see Pluzzing is online. Good to see you as always, Pluzzing. Thank you for joining us. And we need music. We always need music. Let us begin the music. There we go. There we go. And let me just make sure it's not too loud. I think it's one less. I want one less. Yeah. There we go. Okay, we have a lot to talk about today. It's been a while. I didn't do a stream earlier in the week because I took a one-day vacation. I visited a small location near Seattle called North Bend. One of my college friends was visiting, so I decided to hang out with him for a day. Stayed at the Salish Lodge, very nice place, by the way. Highly recommend it. And had just a lot of really delicious food and a great conversation with my friend. Okay. So let us explain what today's topic. Well, we have multiple topics today, honestly, but the big one, which is the one I'll really do once we got the smaller stories out of the way, is I'm going to talk about the very first pen display that I bought. And I've talked about this pen display many times, but I wanted to give you the full story about it. And I have it here. Well, not the exact literal model or the exact literal tablet I bought, but I purchased another one on eBay. The exact same model, everything. And one of the goals I wanted to do is revisit my experience, because I had a very strong reaction to the tablet back in when I first got it 21 years ago. I wanted to revisit, was it 21 years ago? 19 years ago. I wanted to revisit that tablet and rethink about, what I felt at the time versus what I felt now. Because, well, to say it bluntly, I had a strong negative reaction. Now, that's not the fault of the product. It's a fault of, or it was mostly due to my, some things that I wasn't prepared for. And we'll talk about, what those are and what they mean for you. Hi, MX Ed. Thank you. I am definitely feeling it. Bit by bit, making progress. I'm not quite halfway done. Got a lot more to go. The other thing I want to do is, a topic came up on the Discord. Someone was asking about purchasing a tablet, and their budget was not, was not a very big budget. I think they were looking in the $200 range, and they found this tablet for like $200, actually less, I think. And some people are probably interested in this tablet because it is a Wacom tablet. And I will identify the tablet. I don't mean to keep that a mystery. It's just, I don't want to get into the names quite yet. And I thought, well, I didn't recommend getting the tablet, even if it was $200 or $100. I thought, it's so different from what you get today that you might be dissatisfied. You might have been satisfied 20 years ago. You might be dissatisfied now. And I wanted to really examine that assumption. Right? Because remember, it's not like I use these pen displays for 20 years. I rarely use pen displays now, and I'm more familiar with the ones that are new. So I wanted to just see if, is this real? Could someone use a 20-year-old pen display? If they did, what would they notice? And what would they find surprising or different or disappointing or even surprisingly good compared to a modern pen display? We'll talk about all of those things. And, one of the things I think about when revisiting this topic is I learned a lot as I started this channel and talked to tablet experts like Cube. and Koyo and Nocti and a whole bunch of others, and Tablet Kitten, of course. And I learned so much that from them, both in terms of what they know as well as their experiences and their thoughts about how the industry is. And that also has developed my sense about what I expect about a tablet. So my expectations have changed even every year. I have some different views in 2026 than I had a year ago on a number of topics. My thinking has evolved, okay? And hopefully I have, I've shared some of that evolution in my streams. Okay, so that is the main topic for tonight. As always, we'll take questions. It's Friday night for me. It's 5 p.m., so I have lots of time. And there are other topics I want to talk about. I'll give you a brief... let me find where my notes are. My show notes. And let me read... Oh, thank you, OneDrive. Thanks for... Something went wrong. We'll try again in a minute, it says. How about we try again right now? Okay, here we go. So today, which is March the 6th? Yeah. I'm going to talk about the Canvas 22 Gen 3, what we know so far. There's some new products coming out or have come out. There is a rumor, it's more than a rumor, but there's something that's coming, which I don't know if I should reveal, because I think it was accidentally released. Now, some of you know what I'm talking about. And many of you will be very happy. I was certainly very happy, but I hate to spoil the surprise. MXEd says, back in the day, I dreamed of getting a 21UX, but the best I could get was a 12WX. Well, I'm like you. And actually, that dream about the 21UX is one of the focus points of this conversation. Like, what was it in my mind? And then what was it in front of you? By the way, it is literally in front of me. You just can't see it. It is, the 21UX is right in front of me. Let's see. The other topic is, let's see. There is an announcement of a new S Pen, which we need to discuss. Okay, because it has an odd technology choice. Then I want to give you an update on, or some planned changes around naming. And just to give you a preview, you may have noticed my YouTube channel used to be called The 7 Pens. I don't know why, I just thought the was cool. And then I just renamed it to 7 Pens. And I'm actually continuing that renaming. I'm probably going to rename my domain from the7pens.com to 7pens.com. Now I'll add a redirect, which will take some time to set up so that old URLs will still work. But I just want to let you know there may be a brief period where things cannot be found. That shouldn't last long. It doesn't affect the Discord at all because Discord doesn't use those kind of names. My GitHub username is the7pens as well. I'm going to change, and all my GitHub projects have that in their URL. I think I'm going to change that to 7pens. Again, just to simplify. That will break some things, okay? Not everything, but if you've been, some of my projects are on GitHub pages, so that may affect things. So just a warning, and if people have suggestions on how to make this process simpler, let me know, because I'm all for it. MX had great question. Just for clarification, let me clarify what MXEd is talking about. There are two versions of the 21UX. One was released in 2005. One was released in 2010. I have both. Okay, I have both. The one I am talking about today is the 2005 version. That's the DTZ-2100. The 2010 version is the DTK-2100. And the DTZ-2100 is the one I got, the 2005 version. And it is the one with the Intuos 3 pen. Okay? Maybe in another session we'll do the 2010 version. But yeah, I'm showing them with the Intuos 3 pen because that's the one people actually asked about on the Discord. But they're both called 21UX. So you have to be very careful which one you're getting, right? If you're looking on eBay. Okay, talked about domain changes and naming changes. The other thing I'm going to show you before we get to the tablet is a demo of my new, so I collect data on pens. I measure them with a scale, I write down numbers. And I'll take screenshots of my graphs and put them in PowerPoints, and I'll show them in my videos. However, there's no place for you to go to where you can see these graphs. Like I can't give you a URL where you can see the graphs until now. They've always been in a GitHub repo, but they've just been as JSON files. I have built, thanks to the assistance of Claude Code, I built a UI to let you browse and examine and look through the data. Okay? Not all the features are there, but we're going to take a look, and I'd like you to start using it because I think it'll also make some certain discussions easier to have when I say, we're going to look at this pen. I can give you a URL, and you can just see the same data I'm looking at. You can zoom in, everything. And if you have feature suggestions, let me know. Okay, let's begin with some news, which is my first topic, which is the Canvas 22 Gen 3. So this was announced, I think, on the 3rd of March. I ordered it immediately. At the day of its launch, when it was revealed, we saw a bunch of videos on YouTube from, I think, or thereabouts. We saw Brad Colbo, Tio, Adam Duff, a couple other people. The reviews look good for it, okay? Everyone seems to be saying pretty good things. There's only one, I can't remember if it was Brad or Tio, mentioned that there is some slight line wobble. I think it's slow strokes, which is not uncommon and correctable, but that is something. There is a rumored new product. Yes, there is a example. There is a rumored new product. It is more than a rumor because I'm not going to name the company, but they put it on their websites, and so people even took screenshots of it. And so it is coming. We don't know when. We must assume it's going to be soon, but all I can say is it's something that will make people happy. It is not, well, I don't want to spoil the surprise, so I'm not going to tell you the company or the exact kind of product it is. It is a new product, though. It is something people have been wanting. Actually, and it solves a problem they're having, and a desperate problem actually they're having. So I'll leave it at that. Now, if someone spoils it in chat, I'll let them spoil it in the chat, but I'm not going to leak it right now. Memory draw, I mean, maybe that could be. could be. I mean, could be that kind of. See, I'm not putting his comment on there, so people are going to have to look at the. Because again, I don't want to be the leaker of information. But anyway, it would certainly be a nice thing if that was the case, wouldn't it? Memory draw. My Canvas 22 Gen 3. Oh, sorry, there's one other topic. I didn't see it mentioned in the reviews. Is the softness of the pixels. Now, the Gen 3 tablets, like the Canvas Pro 19, the Canvas Pro 24 Gen 3, I found their displays, the etched glass, produces a kind of softness, and the pixels aren't quite as crisp as you'd expect. Many things contribute to softness, like how pixel density and things, but that's one of my primary questions for the Canvas 22 Gen 3. So we'll find out, because at least according to FedEx, it arrives, or UPS, it arrives tomorrow, probably in the afternoon. So tomorrow, either in the afternoon or the stream, Pacific time, I will be streaming again, doing a live testing of the yes, MX said, yes, that's another way of putting it. I'll do live testing, of course. Right now, remember, 22 inches is my favorite size for pen display. I think it's the best balance of size and weight and pixel density. So we're gonna see a lot about it. And it's a 2.5K display, and it does not have touch, and it also supports a maximum refresh rate of 90 hertz, which is, it's nice. Some people really like higher refresh rates. So again, I'll stream tomorrow, either in the afternoon or in the evening of Seattle time. Okay, now I said there's a rumored new product, but now I'm going to talk about an actual new product that is for sure. Let me bring it up here. Okay, so let me set the stage. If you buy the Intuos, let's for an example, if you buy the Intuos Pro 2025, you get a Pro pen with 2 grips and the weight change, the little weight that goes inside of it and different button strips and all this stuff. But if you buy, I don't know, the Wacom Moving Pad 14, you get a Pro Pen 3, but you don't get those grips and things. You don't get that. And it was difficult, so there was no place to get them. Well, now, let me just bring this thing up in a browser window. Good news. Good news. Wacom is, in fact, selling this. Where is this? Why is that not showing up for you? Oh, come on. Hang on. Why is it not doing that? Let's see. Well, this is good enough, right? The Wacom Pro Pen 3 customization kit. So if you bought one of these these other Pro Pen 3 models that didn't have all the customization stuff, you can spend $30 US and get the customization, right? So, I think it is a, I think others will chat MXEd about the possibility of the rumored thing. So this is something people have been asking for. This is a confirmed product. I can't remember exactly when it came in stock, but do check it out if you're interested in, exploring different weight distribution and these grips. I personally go back and forth between using this grip right here, and also I use the 3-button strip, but I'm actually I press the buttons accidentally too much, so I'm considering starting to use the no-button strip, and instead just using my toolbox and a keyboard instead. So that's something I'm going to explore. Yeah, it is probably a little expensive for what it is, but because it's it's not a new pen, it's just this grip stuff. Okay, what else do we got? We got oh yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I thought, why is this not showing up here? Hang on. Why is my... I'm gonna have to restart a little app here. Give me a second. I have buttons to switch my views, and that button is not, they're not operating the way they should be, which is gonna just make it, I'll always have to reach over to do something, which is just irritating. Okay, let's see if this works. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So yeah, it's a new S Pen with USI, meaning Universal Stylus Interface. So let's go ahead and just open this and see why I'm not happy about it. Samsung confirms an improved S Pen is in the works. I have to tell you something. I read this and I got real excited. And it says here, S Pen isn't going away anytime soon, which is, as it turns out, is going to be a good thing. Oh, come on. What the heck? I don't want this. Let's see. Many Samsung fans were disappointed when the company removed Bluetooth functionality from the S Pen with the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Others worried that Samsung might remove the S Pen entirely. I'm just reading from the article. There's no need for concern, this article says, as Samsung has confirmed the S Pen is here to stay. Okay, in an interview with Bloomberg, Won-Jun Choi, COO, operating officer of Samsung Mobile Experience, revealed that the company is developing a new version of the S Pen. He confirmed that Samsung is working on a more advanced S Pen technology that requires a new display structure. Interesting. That's interesting. He did not share specific details. The company could adopt the while he did not share specific details, the company could adopt the USI 2.0 standard or newer version for future S Pen models. Okay, so it's interesting phrasing here. It says this phrase "could" is doing a lot of work in this sentence. Yeah. MX said you're right. That's my same feeling right now. Choi says we're working on advanced technology with an S Pen with a new structure of display. So the penalty of having the S Pen is diminished. What is you know what? I'm scared by this statement. First of all, what was the penalty? Can someone tell me the penalty? I can think of one: high IAF, low max pressure. So I'm not sure. You know, you always have to figure out what do they think is bad versus what we think is bad, because those may not be the same thing. If again, there's a big if here, which is doing a lot of work in this article, because it doesn't entirely say Choi, this vice president or chief operating officer. He's not quoted as saying they're moving to USI. Somehow that's inserted into this statement. If Samsung adopts USI 2.0 standard, it may avoid interference with Key 2 or newer magnetic wireless charging. I don't use that stuff, so it wouldn't matter to me. So I guess that's a benefit for them. USI 2.0 stylus support in-cell display panels similar to OLEDs. Tilt functionality, 16 million colors in color palette. Huh? This I don't understand. What does USI 2.0 have to do with 16 million colors? See that this article's a little weird, right? It's a little weird. And up to 4,000 levels of pressure sensitive and wireless charging via NFC. Look, I just care if it draws good. And traditionally, USI styluses there's just a whole host of problems in drawing. At least if you use a drawing tablet, generally you will not like a USI stylus. Maybe USI 2.0, whatever that is better. I don't know. So a little bit of nervousness for me. We'll see how this works out. So that's the news. Oops, my phone is beeping. Okay. I talked about the naming changes. Oh no, I did. I told you about them. I want to clarify what they are. So again, I'm going to write it down here so it's a little more obvious. So basically, all my docs are on docs.the7pens.com. It is going to change docs to 7pens.com, but the old the7pens, it will redirect, right? So it will redirect. That's an easy one. I will try to go through my old Reddit posts and fix up the links. However, when you go to the7pens, github.io, this is my GitHub. I have a lot of projects here. I'm going to rename my account to 7pens. So these will change. And this does not have an auto redirect, unfortunately. So what's affected here is my tablet tester tool, and some of the other things I've shown you. So I'm going to have to make sure people know where to go to. Okay. And yeah, so those are coming. I might switch all my apps, my tools. I might do this. I might switch tools to something like apps.the7pens. Oh, sorry, apps7pens.com. so you always know where my stuff is at. Okay, I've been using GitHub Pages for all my deployments, which has worked out fine actually, but maybe I'm using Netlify more for some other projects, so I might switch to Netlify. At least their free plan is working for me, so we'll see. But I just like a cleaner URL, right? Okay. Now, one of the tools I have, which is, you can see the URL right here, it's the7pens.github.io. It's called /pen pressure data. I'm going to put it in chat. Though remember, this URL will likely change. Let me copy the link and put it here. Okay. And let me click on this. So, all my data is, so I record all these pens. Now, in fact, you can see these 3 tabs at the top. I have different recording sessions, and you know, they have so many pens, and I have so many pen models. Okay. So, I have done 124 measurement sessions, and this view is the sessions. Okay. So I have measured 88 units, right? 88 different units of pens, and I have 29 different models. So you can see, for example, if I scroll down here, so really the best place to go is to pen models, and you'll see I have these 29 models, and you can click by Huion, Samsung, Wacom, SenseLabs, right? Now, I have done the most testing with, of course, certain XP Pen pens, certain Wacom pens, and certain Huion pens. For example, the PW517 and the KP5048 is the Pro Pen 2. I know I don't have the names for some of these, so you have to be a little bit familiar with the pen model number. So let's take a look at, we'll take a look at this one since it's a popular pen. It's the best pen on the market. So you've probably seen a graph like this before, and this collects all my sessions. What you'll notice is some of the sessions, some of the pens are defective. Like this has a too high maximum pressure. So this pen, which is WAP004, that's my ID number for it, inventory number, I'm going to hide it. In the future, that'll be auto hidden. But now you can see how consistent Wacom pens are. And you know, with different pens, I have different, it's hard to take the exact same measurements. So that's why they're not all aligned. So we'll talk about that in a second. Now, let's suppose you want to focus on IAF. Now remember, I'm not good at IAF, and you're going to see that in the numbers. They sometimes are just like weird. But just to show you what it, what it might be under this normal zoom, you click on here, you can zoom to IAF, and it sort of zooms into the lower left part of the chart. And so at least on my measurements, and let me just go to the raw data here. This is about as low as I could measure consistently. Now I added a feature to estimate what the IAF would actually be by extending the line. And you can see it when I measure the Pro Pen 2, my IAF measurements, my estimated IAF measurements land between just over 2 gram force to almost 4 point something gram force. Now, Cube measures his pens, his Pro Pen 2s at less than 1 gram force. So there's a discrepancy between what I do and what Cube does. And remember, Cube is much better at IAF than I am. So I may add a disclaimer here for IAF and IAF estimates. So that's IAF. What about maximum pressure? You can zoom to max. And now look up here. So it goes from 95% to 100%. And you can see that I get pretty close to the max. Sometimes I need a little boost up here, but they span from 670 gram force to 883, right? And I'm going to add more stats. Now, remember, these dots are where I actually measured. Now, they're not all aligned, so sometimes it's hard to like evaluate how pens are consistently processed. So let's go back to normal zoom here. And you can change this to standardized data. So now the values at specific percentage values are estimated. You know, there's like a linear approximation. So I don't do every 10%, but I do some representative numbers. And so you can see the spread at any given, like at 50%, these pens vary from 71 gram force to 108 gram force, right? So I want to start getting a sense for each pen model, how much at a percentage value they span, meaning how much they span on the physical force here. Obviously, we'd expect less variance around here in, let's say, 5%, and much more 100%. Okay? So this should help you see this. Now, no matter what you pick here for what points you're seeing, because we're showing all the sessions here, you can see the standardized values. And if you want to see, well, something weird is happening with, you may notice, for example, these are all the estimated values, but there's a blank here in P01. Now, why is that? Let's take a look. You can see just that session. So you can see Pro Pen 2, the specific ID for that pen, on this date. So now we're looking at a specific session. And let's just zoom into IAF. You see I didn't measure low enough. That's why we're missing a little data point there. And here you can see the actual numbers that I collected, right? So I wanted to show this to you because in the future, when I talk about a pen, instead of copying and pasting screenshots, I'll still do that sometimes, but I will just send you the link to this or specific pen. Oh, and the URLs work. So for example, let's go back to pen models and let's go find Wacom. 5 Tough says, I remember getting this tablet when I was 14, right before COVID. Well, you're talking about the 21UX? Let's go back here. So I'm going to show you a link. You can try out the tool. Let me copy and paste it. This is to the Pro Pen 2. There you go. Okay, now that's in chat. So that's my tool, and then if you have feature requests, let me know. Oh, one more, sorry, there's more to show you. If you're looking at one pen model, you can click, there's like a navigation thing here. You can just click to the next one. You click, click, click. Occasionally you'll notice I have some data errors, like I've swapped some numbers and the graph goes like reverse. I need to fix those. I think those are copy and paste errors. But you can navigate through pen models here, or if you're in sessions, you navigate by session. You can also export the data as a chart, put it on the clipboard, or save it as a PNG, or copy the data as a table. For example, export chart data here will actually, let me just open this up, exports it as a series of the raw data as some HTML tables, in case you want to use the data for your own needs, right? So if you want other things like export as JSON or export the standardized data, let me know. So this is a tool we can all use, okay? Okay, I need to take a quick bio break, so I'll be right back, and then we'll begin with the 21UX. Okay, right back. Okay, I am back, and I've got my Red Bull, what I call my tablet juice. Let me turn on the overhead camera. Now it's going to be messy, and I'll tell you why it's going to be messy. Because you got to see it first. Let's see, where is it? Ah, here's my power button. Hello, power button. There we go. And so you can point that down. Oops. Ooh. Okay. It looks like it's off, but it's just the screen is the background. Let me see if I can change the lighting angle so we're not getting that harsh light. Yeah, give me a second. Let me do two things. First, let me change the background color so you can more easily see something. Let's make this blue. Okay, it's way too bright, as I thought. Let us... What's the app I'm looking for? I'm looking for the ObSpot app. Okay. ObSpots. Looks like it's adjusted a little bit better, but I still think I need to tone it down. I can't share the screen the normal way. It can be better. Here you can see it a little bit better here. Well, let's see if I can rotate this a bit more and zoom out. Okay. So there's just a mess of cables here. The reason why there's a mess of cables will become clearer as I start explaining, but here it is, the Wacom Cintiq 2100UX. Now, a couple of things are not obvious to you, and we will show them, but I just want you to, it's really weird for me to see this. But let me start off with setting some context, okay? And the context is, let's see, get my show notes, yeah. I have, when I bought this tablet in 2007, it was released in 2005, okay? It cost in 2007, get ready for this, $2,500. okay? And it is important that you hear the emotional tone in my voice, because this is something that I think it's important for you to sense what I thought was happening. By 2007, I had used a drawing tablet for something like 12 years. I had, essentially the Intuos Pro line, or what they called it back then, which is just Intuos. And oops, we have someone. Sorry, let me just check at Discord. Someone is. Let me just reply. It's Brush White. Hey, FYI, I'm streaming now. Talking about the Cintiq 20 UX. Okay, so I'd used a pen tablet, a professional pen tablet from Wacom for 12 years, maybe a little bit more. And I, like many people, was very satisfied with those tablets. I drew a lot of those tablets. And then one day I saw an ad. Maybe it was like back then we had computer magazines. I don't know if they still exist. Maybe it was Computer Shopper or something, or Analog or Byte or something, that talked about a Wacom. I didn't even know these things existed, okay? And I saw a picture of this thing, this 21UX, right? Or something like it. And I was just amazed by this. Like I surely thought, of course, how good it would feel to draw on a screen, okay? Like, of course that would be better because you're seeing what you're drawing. Intuitively, that comment makes sense, okay? So I worked at Microsoft at the time, and so I had a little bit of, some disposable income to buy something like this. So even though it wasn't my job, like I'm not a professional artist, I was not in that part of Microsoft. My thing was about distributed computing. I decided I would pay $2,500 for this tablet. So the tablet arrives, and I remember very well. I'm actually in the same house as when I got this. So I remember exactly what happened. Like, there's this big box, and I know for a fact it was big because I bought this on eBay. So I saw the box, and really just unpacking it, the first thing I realized is this is a heavy tablet. This is a chunky tablet. It's not it's not like having a CRT monitor or something, but like I didn't anticipate that because I've been using a pen tablet so long. I just interpreted that, this would be a little thicker than a pen tablet, but it's a lot thicker. Like I'm putting my finger here. The very sides are thin, but like at its thickest is like, it's like, I don't know, 3.5 inches or, something like this. So it's not thin. It's not thin. That was like, what? And it was heavy. Okay. I mean, it was heavy. Again, this is not the heaviest thing in the world, but like for a tablet of its size, it is heavy. And that surprised me. The other thing is, I didn't really understand what it would be like to connect it. Now, to show you this, I'm going to raise the tablet on its stand. You'll see the stand and everything, and you'll understand what's going on. This is very different from a modern tablet. Okay. Oops, let me move this keyboard out of the way. Okay. So let's see if I can. Sorry, you might lose my face in a little bit of this. Okay. Okay. So first of all, you can rotate this tablet a little bit. The only thing that's stopping it from rotating more is that it's high. If I rotate it down, okay. Now this is not a complaint. I'm just showing you the feature. okay? Like it will actually rotate. And so you'll see like the extent of its rotation. It's quite a bit. I think you could get it 90 degrees. But now let me raise it back up. There's two sort of paddles. You press them both. It sort of unlocks. And I'm gonna do some rotation here. Okay. I mean, this kind of rotation. Let's take a look here. And let's hopefully, I don't think it'll mess up anything. I gotta be a little careful. Look, there's just so many wires. I don't want to pull something loose. In fact, there's so many wires. It's actually getting a little tangled up here. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. Now this is this is gotta be a little dangerous. It's okay. It's not gonna fall over. But I want to show you right here that the tablet. So this. I'll separate these two out there. There's a stand that has kind of a slot here, and this ring here is actually from the tablet. And what's coming out from the center of the ring is this cable. And this cable would correspond to a 3-in-1 cable that we have today. It actually does have 3 ends. One for power, one for video, one for data. Now this is unusual. First of all, I never even considered this, okay? Like the fact that it had this big, thick cable, I didn't think through that, right? Like in retrospect, it was obvious. There's no way this thing's gonna get a video signal through a normal USB cable. We didn't have USB-C at the time. And how is it gonna get power, right? So of course, there's gonna be some kind of thing like this, but the cable is physically locked into this thing, okay? Like, you cannot remove this cable, which is highly unusual for a modern pen display. Now, I'm going to lift the tablet from the stand, okay? And remember, the tablet is, oh, you see that? Oh God, I'm gonna put the tablet down. Whew. Okay, here's the stand. It's got wheels on the back, so it will actually, because that's the part. So when I was moving it up and down, I was pulling like this, and then the back wheel, will kind of slide, okay? So you can kind of move the tablet a little bit, but it is still kind of heavy. Now, I can't remember, I didn't see this, the tablet doesn't lock into this, right? Not that I know of, or at least I'm not remembering that. So you have to be a little bit careful, like if you were to like grab the tablet wrong, you might actually drop the tablet because it's not secured in here. Though, I mean, there may have been, again, a way to secure it, but I just can't remember that now. Okay. So that was a surprise. Okay, now I have to do this. I have to undo that. So let's do that. Oh, wow. It is heavy. Okay. And you want to double check you're actually in the slot. Because at least once today, I thought it was in the slot, but it really wasn't, and I almost dropped the tablet. So you want to be secure. In fact, let me just do that. Let me take a look at it. It is in the slot. Yeah, it is in the slot. What is it that character says in the movie Aliens? As they're coming down, the dropship's coming down to the channel. She says, the pilot. She says, in the pipe, 3x3. That's a little, I think that's what she says. Good question, Pluzzing. Let's try to figure this out. It is heavy. It is heavy. Let's see, where's my keyboard? Like, for a 21-inch monitor, you'd be like, wow, that's a lot of weight there. Cintiq 21UX DTZ 2100 specs. Let's just see. We'll just trust AI for this one if it's possible. 22.4 pounds with the stand. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Now the other thing is that this that surprised me is so whatever 22.4 pounds is. I'm not sure what it is in kilograms. Now the other thing that you'll notice, which was not a surprise for me, and not uncommon back then, that this monitor is 4x3. Back in those days, monitors were often 4x3. It wasn't until HD came out, like in 1999 roughly, or it was more popular by then, we started seeing 1920, 16:9. So this was actually the way things were. Okay. Now you notice something's happening. The right screen is moving. That's because there's actually on both sides there's a touch strip. Now I can't lie to you. This is kind of cool. Okay. And there's one here. It does the same thing. That is kind of cool. And there are buttons here, but I usually just disable everything because I would, I still kind of accidentally hit buttons. So, by the way, the buttons have not braille, but they have like little dots on them, so you can feel the buttons. You can't. They all have the same braille type pattern. But there's 4 buttons here, touch strip, 4 buttons here, and a touch strip. Another feature, which I like. Where is the zoom thing? Okay, here we go. Hang on. I'm going to zoom here. So there's a blue power button. Now I know that seems like a silly thing to talk about, but there's some weird things here which you probably wouldn't expect. Now why isn't it focusing correctly? This OBSBot center, sometimes it just, hello, where are you? Hang on. Okay, let's see. Somehow it's not focusing correctly. Focus. Image. Focus mode should be, continuous. Let's see if it picks it up. There we go. Okay. So the power button is for a modern tablet, it's a weird place. The power button's up here, right at the top of the tablet. Okay. So there's the I/O symbol there. It says power here, and it says status. What the hell is status? Well, it lights up when your pen actually touches the tablet. Now, I know some people don't like this. I actually think this is a cool feature because if your pen is being recognized. I actually wish that this wasn't just an on-off. I actually wish what tablets did is that this would be like a strip, so you could actually tell the pressure level, right? So you can debug some issues basically. Plus, it's just cool. Another thing you'll notice is this has wide bezels, okay, which is not a surprise since it has these buttons, but these days you're just not used to really wide bezels like this. Okay. And another interesting thing about the bezel is there's like 2 levels of the bezel, or not 2 levels, but there's 2 pieces of the bezel. There's like the drawing surface part. So this dark area here through the glass, that's all one thing. That's all one surface. I guess that's all glass. Then the part around it is plastic. Okay. So that's unusual. These days, the glass tends to just be all over, right? Kinoko Sennen says, thanks for buying, guy. Just ordered a secondhand to us PTH 860. Been using a 7-inch inspiration. Yeah, 860 works very well with a 32-inch monitor. Absolutely. But thanks for the nice comment. I'm glad you like the buying guide. Okay. Now, so, and I've been talking about the physical aspects of this tablet, but there's stuff that I have to reveal to you about my response to it. Well, I have to be honest. So I got the tablet. I'm talking about 2007. And then I did this, right? I got it set up. I was so excited. I was like, what do you call it? Christmas with, and I know it's gonna be a little bit difficult to see me do this, but we'll see. I started just drawing, okay? And the first thing I realized is after about just a couple of minutes, like, man, listen, if you draw like this with your arm up, most people, their arms get real tired real quick, okay? And I'm like, man, I don't like drawing like this. Now, yes, I did try doing this, lowering it, right? By the way, because of the way the stand is built, it will not get all the way. The screen is always relatively high above the desk because of the stand. Not a complaint, but it's not what we're used to these days. So even at this angle, there were other things that got me a bit irritated. First of all, this is heavy, so it's not easy to move out of my way, okay? It's just not easy at all to move out of the way. Or it's not as easy as, you know, a modern tablet, let's say. Sorry, I'm going to change the focus mode on this again. Because it is... where the heck? Okay. Sorry, that's good. Oh, it's just gonna, its focus is just way off there, isn't it? Okay. So the other thing I noticed, and this is, I didn't consider this, is the lag. Which you can see the lag. I mean, let's not pretend there isn't. I'll draw more fast or faster. That lag was a huge shock to me. I was like, what? That lag was so distracting to me. I could not. Now, I hated that lag. And to be honest, I didn't end up using pen displays because of it for 20 years. Okay. This lag was so... Now, what I realize now is that a modern pen display has just slightly less lag than this, right? So this turned me off so bad. The lag, the weight, and I'll tell you what happened. But those are two big factors that turned me off of this tablet. The other thing is, I don't know how to describe this to you, but like, especially when it's up like this. This tablet is in your face. Like, it just takes up so much room because then you got the wide bezel. Somehow the screen went black. I don't know why that happened. Did I click something? Oh yeah, I disconnected something. Okay. It's just like it occupied my workspace. Okay. And I didn't have quite as big a desk as I have today. So it was irritating to me. Like you can't put this away easily. Like, because it's so big and heavy, you know, putting it on the floor or not up so much space, right? I can't remember if this can be mounted to an arm or not. Maybe it can, but I didn't know about that at the time. Okay. So then there's the fourth thing that just got me crazy, which was the parallax. Now, you're not gonna be able to see it, I don't think, very easily, but I will try to show you this. I'm going to focus on the mouse here. Okay, let's see if that works. Is that working? Oh, come on. Okay, that's a good sharp picture of the mouse. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to work, okay? But I'm going to put this here, and I got to tell you, you see now that there's a couple of things going on. There's calibration issues, there's tilt compensation issues, and there's parallax. So I'm going to try to hold the pen vertical to the tablet. I can easily see there's a couple of millimeters of space. Like if I put my head at an angle, there's a lot of parallax on this thing, like a ton of parallax. It's not even close to what we're used to in a modern tablet. It is probably, whoops. Let's see if we can show it like here. let's see. Yeah, it's again, you're getting a sense of it, but some of what you're seeing is not fully parallax. It's calibration, but it looks like it's easily seen as a couple of millimeters. So you combine the weight, its physical presence, the surprise of having the pointer lag, and then the parallax, and also, by the way, it's warm. The screen is actually warm when I touch this. All those factors. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, there's like factor number 6. This is 1600 by 1200. That's the resolution. Now, 16 by 100 by 1200 seemed like a totally fine resolution when I bought it. For any monitor, it would have been. However, monitors are like 3 or 4 feet away from me. This thing is like a foot away from me, right? 1/3 of a meter. So I just noticed the pixels. They're not blurry, they're crisp, but I noticed them. And so I was like, man, I didn't really think about that. I didn't think I'd see the pixels like that. So I spent $2,500 on this, and then I'm not joking, I tried using it for, I don't know, 30 minutes. I tried painting on it, and then there was like a special desk I had to try it out, so I wouldn't interfere with my normal desk. And then I tried over the next month once or twice to use it again. Then I put it in a box and never touched it again. I probably in total used that tablet, that $2,500 tablet, for, I would probably guess, an hour. And then in 2011, one of my friends was studying design, and he was always wanting to get a pen display. And I said, I tell you what, I'll give you one for free. So I gave this tablet to him for free. He wanted to pay for it even, but I said, nope, just take it. I was so happy to get rid of it. I guess in a way I regret that now. So I'm telling you the story because I'm afraid of people buying pen displays today and being disappointed, because I certainly was. Because I had this fantasy of what it'd be like, and I say this all the time, I always thought a pen display would, quote, unlock my creative freedom. I'd be like more motivated to create. That didn't happen at all. The experience was so different from what I expected, it made me not want to use it. So obviously my creativity was definitely not unlocked. So I don't want people to go through that experience. I don't want people to waste their money. So that was 2007. Now it's 19 years later, 2026. And I'll tell you, some of my feelings are the same, but some have changed. Let me tell you what's changed. In my mind, this thing felt this big. Like, it felt like it was a 28-inch, 29-inch monitor. But actually, it's a more reasonable, it's a more reasonable size than I remember, honestly. And I think I was just surprised by having something so close to me. So I would say it doesn't feel as big as I thought my memory was telling me. Let's see. Nick, thanks for joining us, Nick. Pro Series Wacoms are pretty good from aftermarket. By the way, a friend of mine in the US is selling his almost new Cintiq Pro DTK-2420. I think I saw a post on Reddit. Maybe it's the same person. For 800 US. Oh, that's a good price for that one. So second thing, and now we'll talk about remember, now I have a lot more pen displays, and I talk to more people about pen displays. I have more experience. What else do I notice here? Well, I can appreciate the wide bezels. I really can. Right? I used to hate wide bezels. I can kind of appreciate having them. Another thing I appreciate is, let me zoom out for this one. I kind of appreciate having buttons and this button strip on both sides. I get it. You don't have to rotate the thing if you're left-handed or right-handed. Like, you can just, either hand will work. You can configure it. So that's kind of nice. Okay. Again, I like the fact that this button lights up. I wish tablets did that. I know some people would hate it. I think it's cool. I think tablets should build upon this, right? Personally, I like the on-off button in front because I have trouble, you never know where they are when they're in the back. I like this, right? Because you do turn them off. It is still warm compared to a modern drawing tablet, but that's okay. Like, I'm not really hugely bothered by that right now. The other thing is the resolution. Yeah, it's okay. Would I want high resolution? Sure. But it is crisp, right? And the colors are decent. They're not bad. They're maybe slightly washed out, very slightly compared to what you're used to today, but not bad. Overall, the colors look pretty even from, different angles and things. So I'm happy there. Like, they don't shift as I move around. Yeah, I thought I saw it, Nick. I thought I saw it. Parallax. I used to be very anti-parallax. Definitely it's more than some people would enjoy, but you know what? I think I'm more okay with this amount of parallax than I used to be. Like, I wouldn't call it, I don't want to use the word good parallax, bad parallax. I want to say this has a lot of parallax, but I'm probably more tolerant of it than I used to be. Okay? Another thing that strikes me is, let me see how I can say this. I talked about the heat. Oh, the texture. So, I don't have the vocabulary for this, so you'll have to bear with me. Drawing on the Cintiq 2100UX, the etched, so as far as I can tell, this is an etched glass surface. I don't see anything that let me just double check here. Maybe it's plastic, I don't know. But it doesn't feel as good as a modern Cintiq in terms of how the pen, and even if, I know I'm using this, this tablet uses the ZP, or comes with a ZP 501 pen, which is the Intuos 3 pen. But I have the Pro Pen 2, and definitely it feels more like drawing on an iPad. Like, not quite as slick and slip and slidey, which is a technical term, but definitely not what we're used to with a Cintiq, a modern Cintiq. Okay. Uh, 21UX looks so weird. I also like the next one, QHD27. That thing is one of the best Wacoms of all. Oh, I've always wanted to try that. I've always wanted to try that. Maybe one day I'll get a chance. Another thing that I'm gonna now I have Clip Studio Paint. I'm gonna show you some stuff here. Where is Clip? Okay, here's Clip. So, oops, wrong pen. Let me show you my screen here. This might be a bit difficult, so let's see what I can do here. I'm going to, oh yeah, I know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to draw a cross. You can't see it. You can't see it, I know. Let's take a look at the exposure. And I'm going to change the exposure to be different on this thing. Okay. Not quite as intense. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is you have to bear with me at this one because we have to live this experience together. Hopefully I zoom in just okay. Okay, now at this angle, it's not quite right, but basically the camera is looking at the monitor or the display like your eyes would, okay? Now, I'm going to hold the pen vertical to the glass, okay? And according to my eyes, the tip of the pen is exactly where the cross is, okay? And I'm going to change the pen here to be a black dot, and I'm going to put a black dot. Okay, what do you notice? The black dot is a little lower to the left in the middle, isn't it? Okay, now I'm going to tilt the pen north. And remember, I'm visually keeping the tip by the notice the black dot's now lower. Tilt it east by 45 degrees, south, and then west. Now you can see there's a general sort of like miscalibration here. Nick says, by the way, I think you mean the QHD-27 was supplied with that quite rare pen, the first gen Pro pen. Do you have? I don't think I have I think I may have one first gen Pro pen. I may. I do like the design. Yeah. I need to double check. Now watch what happens when I don't do north, south, east, or west, but I do northeast, southeast, and I'm gonna do it in blue, just so it's more obvious. Hopefully, maybe I'll do green, like a slightly lower green, so you can see it more clearly. So northeast, southeast, southwest. Okay, now you can see if I zoom in a little bit here, that there's some tilt compensation problems here. Okay, and this is something Wacom got much better. Now it could be just this unit or something, but in general it's gotten better, I think. Right now, the other thing I noticed is, and you can probably just see it when I do this. Let me. I wonder how much more I can zoom. That's about it. Okay. I'm gonna draw in white here so you don't see anything marked. Okay, now watch where the. Sorry, you can't see. Okay, how do I do this so you can see it? Because my own hand's in the way. Okay. You see? Okay. I am tilting northeast, but basically the tip and the circle is relatively closely aligned. It looks more aligned to you than me. Watch what happens when I tilt more. At 60 degrees, see how far away it's getting? That doesn't happen to modern Wacom tablet, okay? So tilt compensation diagonally is crazy, right? It's not always bad in all directions, but you can see it diagonal ones, especially when I'm pointing down. Let's see if pointing up has the same problem. Yeah, it is pretty bad. Now, I think some of what you're seeing is just some maybe not correct math. They're not taking something into account correctly, but the tilt compensation is not great here. Okay? It's just not great. Other than that, though, to be quite honest, the drawing experience feels pretty good. I'd love to say that, in fact, it's unusable, but it's not. Right? I am total. Oops. What happened here? Something is not being seen here. Let me. Oops. I was clicking on a. Oh, I see. Hang on. There we go. Let me zoom out here. I would love to say that it does not feel good to draw. I mean, like, yes, I know the texture isn't quite perfect, but it actually feels pretty good, right? You can get by with this quite easily, right? It has a lot of the things we do come to expect. If you draw circles with tilt? Will it prevent you from connecting into a seamless circle? Nick, do you mean, let me erase this. Like, if you're saying I trace a circle, do I have a good tracing thing? Let's try it out. Okay, so I'm tilting toward the middle. Overall, it did okay. I don't think I'm seeing any problems there. But if you're coming at the same angle, like, let me try to say it like this. If you're coming at the line like here, right, and you physically match up, does that make sense? Like, your line will not end up in the right place, even if the tip is in the same place if the tilt angle is different. That's not an elegant way of saying this. So connecting can be difficult unless you're paying attention to with your eyes to where the pen is, right? So, and also doing a motion like this will cause, you know, you'll be going out further because of that bad tilt compensation. Okay, let me erase this. Okay. Yeah, the experience is not bad. It is really not bad, right? I mean, is cursor misalignment a problem for you? In practice, I'm not having a lot of problems here. Let me open up. Let me see if I can make it better, actually. To be fair, I did not calibrate it, so let's just see what happens. I've actually not done a Wacom calibration in like forever. So let's just see. Where the heck is my... Rain says, Cintiq 2100 versus Wacom 1 display. I think this is actually a I don't know which one's better. I think this is better, actually. Let me see if I can find the Wacom tablet properties. They actually do have a modern Cintiqs don't have a calibrate feature anymore. Let's hit calibrate. Okay, so you guys see, right? Click on each target appears, plus escape or wait a few seconds again. Okay. So remember, do it from where you're actually normally sitting and looking. Let's see if this improves things. I should have done this in the first place, but I want to give you calibration complete. Okay, let's try that. Is it better? Tilt compensation isn't better, but it is better calibrated, definitely, right? If I'm holding the pen vertically, it's actually correct, or much more correct. Pointer lag is probably it's about the same, maybe it's a little bit more than you're used to with a modern pen display. Let's try some diagonal wobble testing. Okay, this is my classic wobble testing scenario. Yeah, I think they're all 60 hertz, Nick. I think they're all 60 hertz. So this is a slow line at about 4 seconds. Let me make sure I get the line correct, the right line, kind of line. I want the milli pen. I want 5 pixels. I want this. I don't want any pressure being applied to it. And I don't want any smoothing. So no stabilization. Okay, here we go. Let's try it out. There's maybe a, let me try that again. Let me turn the full smoothing so it's, anti-aliasing settings can make this look a bit weird. There's a little bit of jitter. It's not the normal diagonal wobble you're used to. There's a little bit of jitter that I'm surprised by. At slow speeds. There I see a little bit of wobble. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, but there's a little bit of wobble here in this line. Let's try a faster one. Yeah, you see it? Let me zoom in. Now it could be part of the app, so we're gonna try a couple options here. Actually, I see some wobble, but you see this weird sort of bumpiness here? This is often an issue with Windows Ink versus... Okay, Pluzzing. Thanks for joining us. I do appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. So, yeah, the lag bothered me. Now remember, the lag is also like you can see it with the pen display. This looks like a quantization problem. I don't know if this is a noise problem. So let's try to change clip to not use whatever the hell it's using. Let's go to WinTab, because WinTab is just better, honestly, in some cases. Okay, screen turned off. Don't know why I did that. Let me restart clip. That was usually a GPU thing, not due to. Let's try this again. A little bit of wobble, but none of that weird small little noise, which is out. A little bit of wobble. You would not want this on a modern pen display, but if you're drawing fast, you won't notice it. Little bit, you can see it, a little bit of wobble there. You might not be able to see it with the camera like this, so can you see it here? Some of the, a little bit unstable. These were slow, medium, and then let's try fast line. It's kind of acceptable if you see some wobble on a slow line, but on a fast line like this, you don't want to see any wobble. You still see a little bit. It's not totally bad. Stabilization will get rid of it, this kind of wobble. But this is, again, an area where Wacom improved. Though I don't think a normal person would notice this, especially because you draw like this, right? Like you just don't experience this. What else about this strikes me? Oh, let me explain to you the weird issues of connections here. Okay, so let me... Oops, cancel. Okay. So, the tablet... Rain says, I'm genuinely considering an Intuos Pro now, just to supplement my drawing when I want to relax and have better posture. I used to get wrist pain, but now I'm thinking maybe I just need a larger pen tablet. What are you using now, Rain? But yeah, if medium to start with is, or for most people, that'll be better. So here's the tablet. There's a wire coming out that goes to DVI, USB A, and then power. Okay. So this is like some kind of special power thing. So they have a AC adapter here. And this goes, to the wall. Okay? This goes to your computer. Now, okay, USB to a USB-A port. Now, DVI is an old standard. So here's how I connected it. And there are multiple kinds of DVI. So I had to get a DVI to, or I should say HDMI to DVI would be a better way of saying it. HDMI to DVI. Okay, so now this is an HDMI cable. And then I had two HDMI ports, but they're used. So I had a USB-C port, a full-featured USB, a Thunderbolt port, basically. And I used a USB-C to HDMI adapter here. So there's a lot of connection here, right? Difference between M and L is not big at all. If you had a big, I don't know, I think it's pretty big. Especially if you had a big tablet with a much bigger area than 13. Well, the good thing about the L is you can always change the active area to be the same size as the medium. Yeah, Rain, if you're using a small, I think definitely try a medium. Definitely try a medium because like that is a huge difference. That's just a huge difference. So this is how it's connected now, right? Because most computers do not have a DVI port. So I had to go through a lot of like little adapters to make this work. And every adapter will cause, you know, every adapter you have is some chance you're going to mess things up. Now, here's the question. Would I recommend the 21UX, the DTZ-2100 today in 2026? I think for the normal, okay, I would say the answer to that is no, except under these conditions. Number one, you understand the consequence, like you understand what you're getting, right? You're getting some of these issues that aren't found in normal tablets. Number two, you're gonna have to use an older Wacom driver. In fact, the version that the last compatible version for this is which? 6.3.15-3, and like that probably won't even work on a Mac OS Sequoia, right? So that's gonna be a problem. The other thing is you're comfortable, you know, you understand like how you're having to connect because it's not clean. Most computers you have don't have a DVI connection, so you got to deal with that topic. I would say if you're absolutely desperate for, you know, how much are these going for on eBay? Let's find out. Wacom DTZ-2100. Of course, you don't want to get one that's scratched up either, because like, I don't think this has a replaceable surface. So you can't, let me double check here. I don't think so. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it lifted off. Okay, so here's a great example. And you got to get the stand, because I don't know if these work with the VESA. You're getting these things for what? $90, $100, $68. The pens are going to be what? $45, $48. Not bad, actually. But you have to be prepared what you're going to deal with, okay? So I wouldn't typically recommend it. If you're just collecting, not a bad idea. You know, I wouldn't bet everything that this is going to solve it for you. Like, I generally recommend you get a pen tablet instead. But if you have the spare money and you just want to try it out, it's not a, you know, it's fun to try, right? But again, it may not work for you. It may not work for you. I will say when I compare, you know, like I said, I bought this for $2,500 and I gave it away after a month of using it, hours actually. I think my opinion on this tablet has softened quite a bit. In my memory, it was a very, how can I say? It was a dark memory, right? It was a memory of me being very unhappy, very disappointed. My dreams were dashed. Now I'd say I recognize what a good tablet it was. For its era, it was fantastic. I didn't know that at the time, though. I was suffering from lack of knowledge about what the state of the art was, and I was suffering from delusions. Okay. Hi Jay. I just discovered the channel and really enjoy the content. Thank you. Thank you. What pen tablet would you take to the desert island? Honestly, I would take the Intuos Pro 2017 model large, the PTH860. I still think that is the top tablet to have with the top pen, right? I know I'd probably be okay with the Intuos Pro 2025 large, but yeah, PTH860 Intuos Pro large from 2017. That's the one I take. It's not even hard for me to say that. That's the one I take. Oh, let's see. Nick says, I recently bought that smart outlet with energy monitor. Pretty cool toy. Could be handy. Could you send a link for that, Nick? I'd like to. If you like the one you have, can you send the link? Or at least the name, brand. Because that's a good idea, and it's something I've often wondered, and people have occasionally asked, and I have no way of answering. Right. Okay, going back to my memories here. Yeah, my opinion has softened of this. While I wouldn't, again, if you're totally desperate for one and you're able to deal with the weirdnesses, probably it'll work much better on Windows because of the driver issue with Mac OS. On Sequoia, the older Mac drivers don't work. Maybe you can find someone making them work. I don't know. But yeah. If I could go back in time, I think the thing I would probably tell myself is give it more time. Because after an hour, I was so disappointed. I don't think I worked at this. By the way, one more thing I forgot to tell you. Back then, I don't think I knew how to work with a pen display. And I'm talking about my back, my lower back. I always remember getting my back hurting because I think whenever I was using it, I was just always leaning in, and it was really painful for me. After a while, and that's when I was really healthy and fit and everything. But this hurt my back, and now I hold myself much better, and that's for a bunch of reasons. But my posture is much better in general, and maybe my core is better. So I'm not experiencing any pain using it right now. So and this has taken 2 decades for me to get better at this. So I could probably tolerate this much more now than I could before. Is this something, because it is heavy, it's not something you can easily move between using a monitor and using it as a tablet. It's really going to be your tablet because it's hard to move around. Like it is heavy. So for that reason, again, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're absolutely desperate and willing to deal with all the weirdnesses of it, then yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to have. I don't regret buying this at all. In fact, I do regret giving away the original one I had now. No, actually, I shouldn't say that. My friend needed it, and so I'm glad I gave it to him. And I hope he put it to good use. But this is interesting. It teaches me how much things have evolved and how much things haven't evolved in terms of what Wacom offers. Definitely the tech has improved even for Wacom. And I think we've lost some things that I kind of like here. I kind of like the way the power button works and the lights work. The screen, I'm looking at the anti-reflection. The anti-reflection stuff is not as intense as what it's there, but it's not quite as intense as what you'd get in a modern pen display. It's not bad at all. It's just, you probably notice it's not doing, you see things are, the glare is reduced, but you can see objects a little more clearly than a modern Cintiq. And I can test this out, by the way. I have it. Well, I don't want to move that right now. Let me see if I have another one nearby. Give me a second. Okay. I'll do that for another day. Anti-glare is fine. The surface, again, is not... It's probably a little more smooth than you're used to. Though I don't think my pen feels like it's really sliding all over the place. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. Because it's 4:3, which is an unusual aspect ratio, this thing feels way bigger than it is. Now remember, I have a bunch of 24s and 22-inch tablets. This feels more like a 24-inch tablet than a, remember, it is only 21 inches tablet. It feels more like a 24-inch tablet because of the 4:3 aspect ratio. It's tall, or it's taller than you'd expect. I kind of dig this aspect ratio. I mean, I like it. I like it. Some of you will find your canvas ends up here. You can see it here. The canvas ends up being a little more, kind of with Clip Studio for me, ends up being a little more squarish, if that's what you like. Does that make sense? But I like this. I do really like this. I mean, I shouldn't say this. Let me clarify. I like it. Would I switch to it? Of course not. The pen displays we have these days are much better, but I don't regret getting this. I could draw it now and feel okay drawing on it, right? Would I notice some weird things? Yes. Parallax, tilt compensation issues. But the actual pen, the pen's pressure is the pen's pressure response. It still works great, right? I'm liking it. Okay, I think we covered enough. And I will say again, same ratio as iPad Pro. I'm watching this. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's kind of fun to see. 4:3, I've missed it. I've missed an aspect ratio like this, Let's see, Nick says, something like this from Amazon. Amazon Mekier, upgraded watt power meter. Okay, I'll check for something in Amazon, name something similar. Rain says, that's why I like the aspect ratio of the 2025 Cintiqs, which are 16:10. It makes the Cintiq 16 feel a bit bigger. Yes, that's right. 16:10 is, it's interesting. Again, it just makes it a little bit bigger. Something about having that that extra vertical size is quite useful, actually. And it still feels like 16:9. You just get extra. Yeah, I actually kind of like this swiveling thing too. Okay, I think I've wrapped it up. I think that's all I want to talk about. I hope I've given you a sense about what this tablet is. And one of the takeaways I'd say is it just shows you how Wacom has evolved, right? This was the state of the art 19 years ago in 2005. And it cost $2,500. You can buy now a tablet. Let's just find out how much the Cintiq 24 costs. The Cintiq 24 Touch. Not even the Pro. Let me take a look here. 24 Touch. Let's find out the price here. So this modern tablet, you can get a better tablet in every way with the Cintiq 24 Touch, which costs $1,000 less. Better screen, brighter screen, better, better pen, better colors, thinner, lighter, less heat, better connectivity. And you'd spend $1,000 less. In fact, if we look for inflation, inflation calculator. Let's just try this out. Okay, get this. $2,500 in 2005, which is how much this tablet cost. It would be $4,163 today. Okay? Would you spend and now for 1,000, what was it? 1,500, you get a better thing in every way. Okay? So I know sometimes we like to complain about Wacom prices, but you have to admit, you're getting a better product for less, proportionally less money today than you ever were before. In every way, the product is better, right? Well, I mean, we could take exception to maybe the fact they don't have express keys like they used to have. Some of you may like the bigger bezel, so there is some debate about that. But, I don't think we should feel too bad. I think Wacom has delivered more value for us than sometimes we care to admit. Okay, everyone. I think that wraps it up for me. Just as a reminder, tomorrow the Canvas 22 Gen 3 will arrive, either in the afternoon or evening. As soon as it arrives, I will stream again, doing my live testing of it, okay? And then we'll see how that works for people. And the things I'm going to focus on are the softness of the pixels, right? And also I'm going to focus on the line wobble. Those seem to be the topics of most interest, okay? So with that, I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for everyone for your time and your presence here and your engagement. I really appreciate it. I will see you all soon, and if please join the Discord if you have any more questions or comments. I will see you all soon, tomorrow as a matter of fact, hopefully, and have a great night, everyone. See ya.